Hello, everyone. We are the first group, and welcome to our podcast episode AIDI. I'm your host, Honeybee, and today's episode is super exciting and honestly super important at the same time. Kasi ngayon, we're talking about something that shapes almost everything we do, and that is data and artificial intelligence o AI. Alam ko, medyo nakakatakot pakinggan yung AI. Parang pang scientist or pang tech experts. Pero promise, connected tayo lahat dito kahit wala ka sa tech industry. But before we begin, let me start with the basics. Ano nga ba yung data? So in simple words, data is information. Pwede siyang numbers, pictures, location, messages, behavior, and kahit yung mga likes and reactions mo sa Facebook. According to Tech Business News, around 402.74 million terabytes of data is created every day. Ang dami nun. Parang lahat ng pictures mo since grade school multiplied by a billion. At ano naman ang AI? Well, AI is a technology that tries to think or learn like humans. Sa madaling salita, AI is just a computer na marunong mag-analyze, matuto at mag-recommend. Ano-ano nga ba ang mga halimbawa ng AI? Well, isa na rito yung Waze telling you kung saan ang fastest route, pati na rin yung For You page mo sa TikTok, and even your ChatGPT explaining your homework. Now, why does everyone need to understand this? Kasi, sabi ng UN, AI could impact 40% of jobs worldwide in the next few years. At ayon sa isang study na ginawa ng Universal Macan, Filipinos are one of the most active internet users. Meaning, ang daming data nating pinoproduce daily. So, we need to know how AI affects us, in a good way ba or bad way. We also need to understand its impact on society. And today, we'll talk about all of that. Pero hindi ako mag-iisa. May mga kasama tayong guest speakers para tulungan tayong himayin ang bawat topic. So to start things off, punta muna tayo sa brighter side. Totoo naman, AI and data bring amazing benefits, lalo na sa productivity, convenience, at innovation. So for our first segment, positive impacts of data and AI, kasama natin si Carl who will walk us through real examples of how AI is making life easier and smarter. So Carl, pag-usapan natin.
Thank you so much for having me. Now, we are to talk about AI and its positive impacts. First off, what do we actually mean by a positive impact? To have a positive impact is when something benefits the majority of people by creating beneficial, constructive, or uplifting effects on them. In AI, let's take, for example, large language models such as ChatGPT, Gemini, and DeepSeek. These tools allow learning to be instant, even giving us the ability to access knowledge like never before. I mean, if you don't understand a concept, when was the last time you had to hire a tutor or maybe beg your professor to teach you out of class? With these tools, it's as easy as typing explain like I'm five. And while talking AI is all that impressive, the analytic ones are also very impactful. Take machine learning algorithms. Things that we do manually before, like classify tumors, are now being done instantly, giving doctors enough time to save patients. The same applies to everyday tasks. We used to manually sift through thousands of emails, never quite sure what was spam and what wasn't. Now, spam rarely even makes it into our inboxes. And do I even need to mention AI's ability to see the future? Well, not literally, of course, but forecasting algorithms give us powerful insights from understanding past trends to predicting what might come next. These are what I might call positive. Of course, it's not just sunshine and rainbows. We can't just blindly innovate with AI. We also have to count its consequences, like the ones who I'd like to think are controversial. To some, it's positive, to many, it's not. An example would be automation in industries. I'm a bit conflicted. While it's true that it helps humanity to advance efficiently, I can't help but think of the people whose jobs are being taken. Things such as self checkout that trivializes cashiers, automatic cars that drive by themselves, which have the potential to render drivers jobless. There are even talks of AI doctors, although I personally think that is too much.
Grabe no? Ang laki talaga ng naitutulong ng AI sa learning, work at healthcare kapag tama ang paggamit. Pero tama ka rin, habang umaangat ang technology, kailangan din nating isipin kung sino ang naiiwan at paano sila maaapektuhan. Carl, I have a question. For someone na hindi techie, paano mo i-explain na hindi dapat katakutan ng AI when used properly?
I think ang malaking reason bakit takot ang mga tao sa AI is kasi sa tingin nila may kusa ang AI. Kumbaga, tinatrato nila tong parang sa Transformers. Which I think is a reasonable assumption considering din kung paano siya i-overhype nating mga nasa tech field. I think the easiest way to lessen that fear is by telling them at ipaintindi sa kanila na ang AI ay konti lamang ang pagkakaiba sa kanilang cellphone. Wala itong emosyon, walang kusa at mas lalo nang walang sariling pag-iisip. Lahat ng ginagawa nito ay ayon lamang sa kung ano ang gusto nating ipagawa dito. I'll ask them to think about calculators. It never really did replace mathematicians.
Thank you so much for that, Carl. But let me cite you on this. Hindi all sunshine and rainbows. May darker side din ng AI, kagaya ng privacy issues, misinformation, bias, and job risks. To explain this clearly, I'll pass the mic to Vince for our next segment, the negative impacts of data and AI. Go ahead, Vince. The floor is yours.
Thank you so much, Honeybee. And for this section, I want to talk about deepfakes. Now, when we say deepfake, it can be defined as synthetic media made with AI that manipulates audio, video, or images so they appear convincingly real. And the Philippine Information Agency notes that this is often done by replacing someone's voice or face over existing footage. A 2019 academic review in the Technology Innovation Management Review points out that deepfakes can now depict people saying and doing things that never happened. They spread rapidly on social media, and most dangerously, they're often created without the consent of the person involved. We've actually seen this happen locally. The Diplomat reported in 2025 a high-profile case where Senator Bato de la Rosa triggered a debate after sharing an AI-generated deepfake video supporting Vice President Sara Duterte. The Malacanang Palace press officer Claire Castro criticized him for this, as disinformation shared by high-ranking officials creates doubt and erodes trust. Separately, the Philippine Information Agency published a warning in 2024 from the DICT Secretary describing a scamdemic. He framed generative AI as a tool causing huge financial losses globally and a threat that we have to address immediately. From a data ethics perspective, this applies in three specific ways. First is a concern with informed consent, as your image and voice can be used without your permission. Second, deepfakes damage truth and trust, spreading disinformation that can be easily shared through social media. Third is governance and accountability. Deepfakes used for malicious purposes can harm reputation or can even be used for blackmail, fraud, and cyberbullying. So to end my talk, I would like to share some questions for the listeners to ponder. When a convincing deepfake circulates, who is accountable? Is it the creator, the sharer, or the platform? And what should platforms and institutions do to reduce harm? What protections should exist when a person's image or voice is used without consent?
Nakakatakot isipin no na kahit mukha at boses natin pwedeng gamitin laban sa atin. Kaya importante talaga na hindi lang tayo basta naniniwala sa nakikita at nadidinig natin online. Kailangan laging may pause at verification. So Vince, if there's one thing na dapat bantayan ng listeners sa AI today, ano yun?
Well, if there's one thing that we need to look out for, it is convincing audio or video that looks like it comes from friends or family. Especially if they're asking for money, personal info, or give urgent instructions, these are most likely scams. Deepfakes can be made to look or sound genuine, making it harder to tell what's real versus fabricated and creating risks to personal safety. So a good practice is to treat sensitive requests as verify first. It is better to be safe than sorry when sharing information, especially when involving financial transactions.
Well, thank you for that very insightful breakdown, Vince. Now, the big question becomes, so anong dapat nating gawin? Paano tayo magiging responsible users? For our next segment, Responsible Use of Data and AI, we have Vanessa to guide us on safe practices, ethics, and digital responsibility. Please continue, Vanessa.
When we talk about responsible use of data and AI, ang pinag-uusapan talaga natin dito is power. Kung sino ang may hawak ng data, paano ito ginagamit, at sino ang nakikinabang o naapektuhan. Sobrang relevant nito sa country natin kasi Filipinos are among the most active internet users in the world. Based on global digital reports, we spend more than 8 hours a day online on average. Ibig sabihin, araw-araw, napakarami nating personal data na naiiwan online. One major implication nito is data privacy. For example, apps like GCash or Maya use AI to detect fraud and analyze spending patterns. Helpful siya, yes, but it also means these platforms are handling very sensitive financial data. Responsible use here means companies must protect user data properly. And us users, kailangan din natin maging aware na bawat transaction natin may digital footprint. Another concrete example is social media algorithms, lalo na sa Facebook at TikTok. These platforms use AI to decide kung anong content ang lalabas sa feed natin. Sa Pilipinas, this has been connected to the fast spread of misinformation and disinformation, especially during election periods. When AI systems prioritize engagement over accuracy, the effects are not just personal, they affect public opinion and even democracy. We also see implications in education and employment. Some schools and companies use AI tools for learning support or applicant screening, but if these systems are trained on biased data, they can disadvantage certain groups like applicants from public schools or rural areas with limited digital access. So responsible use of data and AI is not just about convenience or innovation, it's about protecting privacy, reducing bias, and making sure technology doesn't worsen existing inequalities. Responsible AI use becomes even more important kapag mabilis ang digital adoption pero hindi pantay ang digital literacy. Kaya kailangan din natin bilang users na mag-check ng app permissions, maging maingat sa post, at i-verify ang AI-generated content bago paniwalaan.
Ang ganda ng point mo na power talaga ang data. Hindi lang siya tungkol sa convenience, may real consequences siya sa privacy, fairness, at kahit sa democracy, lalo na dito sa Pilipinas. Well, may isang tanong na ako, Vanessa. If may isang golden rule sa responsible AI use for ordinary users, ano yun?
If may isang golden rule sa responsible AI use for ordinary users, it is this. Assume that everything you give to an app can be stored, analyzed, and possibly misused, so share only what you are willing to lose control over. Sa reality kasi, hindi lahat ng companies inuuna ang ethics or privacy. Madalas profit muna. Kaya kahit hindi tayo ang may hawak ng system, may power pa rin tayo sa kung anong data ang binibigay natin, like checking permissions, limiting oversharing, at pagiging skeptical sa AI-generated content. Hindi nito totally maayos ang problema kung hindi kumikilos ang institutions, pero at least nababawasan natin ang risk at hindi tayo passive users lang.
Grabe, ang daming natutunan. Let's make it even more real this time with a concrete example. A case study para makita kung paano talaga nangyayari ang mga risks sa totoong buhay at ano yung mga solutions. I'll hand this part to Kyle for our case study segment. Take it away, Kyle.
I looked into the Slovakia election of 2023. This case is famous because it's basically the first time AI deepfakes played a major role in a national election. So let's set the scene. It was a very tight race between a pro-democracy candidate who is Michael Semechka and a pro-Russian candidate. The country was already tense at the time. Then, just 48 hours before voting day, strange audio recordings started circulating on Facebook and Telegram. In these clips, you could hear Semechka discussing how to rig the election by buying votes. But there was one clip that really angered the average voter. In it, he seemingly admitted that he planned to raise the price of beer if he won. For context, Slovakia has one of the highest beer consumption rates in the world. So threatening the price of beer, that hits people personally. But here is the catch. It was all just fake. The audio was generated by AI. So you might ask, why didn't he just go on TV and deny it? It is already a checkmate for Semechka. Because Slovakia has a 48-hour moratorium law, this means that right before the election, politicians are legally banned from appearing in the media. So while the deepfakes were spreading and voters were getting angry, Semechka was silenced by the law. He could not defend himself in time. The result? He lost the election. The other candidate, Robert Fico, a pro-Putin, won. Personally, the biggest lesson is that misinformation travels faster than the truth. Even if fact-checkers eventually proved it was AI, it didn't matter anymore. The damage was done, and the people had already voted.
Nakaka-frustrate yung case na to kasi kahit napatunayang fake, wala nang time para itama. Sobrang clear dito na hindi sapat ang fact-checking kung huli na. Kailangan sabayan ng tamang policies at preparedness. Kyle, sa case study na binanggit mo, ano yung pinaka-eye-opening na lesson para sa'yo personally?
It made me realize that as data science students, we can't just rely on detecting fakes. We also need to think about the rules. Kasi in that case, the law, the moratorium law, actually helped the bad actors instead of protecting the victim. It shows that our policies need to catch up with our technology.
Thank you very much, Kyle. That really painted a clear picture. Now, syempre, iba rin ang context sa Philippines. Iba ang tech access, iba ang economy, at iba ang digital habits. So, for the continuation of our case study segment, but in the Philippine context, let's hear from Kath, who will discuss how AI and data are being used or misused locally. Go ahead, Kath.
Hello, so ayun na nga, I'm here to share some happenings dito sa Pilipinas na very related to our discussion. Before I start, let me ask you muna, Honeybee, are you a registered voter ba?
Yes, I'm a registered voter na. Bakit? Ano meron?
Oh, then I'm pretty sure na you're familiar with COMELEC. But for those na hindi familiar, COMELEC, or the Commission on Elections, is the government agency responsible for handling elections. Meaning, COMELEC collects and stores massive amounts of sensitive personal information from Filipino voters. The reason why I'm bringing up COMELEC kasi last 2016, a major data breach occurred. For context, a group of hackers labeling themselves as Anonymous Philippines hacked into the voter database of COMELEC by using an SQL injection attack. Ano yan? Basically, it's a security flaw where attackers insert harmful SQL code through user input like login systems, search bars, or any page that asks users for information, which then allows the hackers to access the entire database. And as a result, around 55 million personal data of registered Filipino voters was exposed. Kasali doon yung mga pangalan, addresses, birthdays, and even yung fingerprints at iba pang mga sensitibong personal information. This case wasn't just a technical failure, kundi isang malaking institutional failure rin. Kasi when a government agency like COMELEC fails to protect data, nawawala yung trust ng tao sa sistema. Ngayon kasi data is the fuel of the AI. And the more personal and detailed the data is, the more powerful siya when combined with AI tools. Ideally kasi, voter data and AI should be used to improve election systems like verification and efficiency. Pero kapag mahina ang data protection, mas nangingibabaw yung misuse. Kahit hindi directly ginamit yung COMELEC data, breaches like this create opportunities for identity theft, targeted misinformation, at AI-powered manipulation, lalo na pagdating sa elections.
Ang bigat isipin na mismong data ng voters ang nalantad. Ipinapakita lang nito na kapag mahina ang data protection, mas nagiging delikado ang paggamit ng AI, lalo na sa usaping eleksyon at tiwala sa gobyerno. Well, given what you said, Kath, if you were to give one recommendation to the Philippine government about AI use, ano yun?
I'd say na dapat mag-focus ang Philippine government sa responsible AI governance. Kasi tulad ng nakita natin sa COMELEC data breach, kapag mahina ang data protection, pwede itong gamitin kasama ng AI para sa identity theft at manipulation sa elections. Ibig sabihin, kailangan merong clear rules and standards kung paano gamitin ng AI. Especially sa social media, para maiwasan ang abuse tulad ng pag-spread ng misinformation o paggawa ng deepfakes na pwedeng makasama sa tao, like the one presented by Kyle sa Slovakia election case. Importante rin na transparent ang algorithms at may accountability ang mga companies na gumamit ng AI para hindi lang basta nakakalat ng misleading or harmful content. Bukod dito, kailangan din ng public education para alam ng mga tao kung paano safe at responsible gamitin ng AI at aware sila sa potential risks. Sa ganitong paraan, makikinabang tayo sa AI nang hindi nasasakripisyo ang trust at safety ng mga tao, tulad ng lesson na nakuha natin sa COMELEC case.
Tama nga naman. Thank you for that, Kath. And in fact, thank you to all our guest speakers. Sobrang dami nating napag-usapan. From the benefits, the risks, the real-life examples, hanggang sa situation dito sa Pilipinas. Now, let's quickly wrap up the key takeaways. We can't deny na kasama na talaga ang data at AI sa araw-araw nating buhay. From navigation apps at social media, hanggang online payments at schoolwork, madalas ginagamit na natin ang AI kahit hindi natin namamalayan. Dahil dito, mahalagang maintindihan na AI can be very helpful kung tama ang paggamit. Nakakatulong ito sa learning, trabaho at healthcare at pinapadali nito ang maraming dating mahirap gawin. Pero mahalagang tandaan na tulang ito at wala itong sariling isip o intensyon. At dahil nga tulang siya, nagiging delikado ito kapag napunta sa maling kamay. Dito pumapasok ang mga risks tulad ng deepfakes, scams, misinformation, at data breaches na pwedeng makasira ng privacy at tiwala ng mga tao. Mas lalong nagiging problema ito dahil mas mabilis kumalat ang fake kaysa sa totoo. Kapag may maling impormasyon na kumalat online, kahit ma-fact check pa ito later, kadalasan huli na, the damage has been done. Kaya dito pumapasok ang responsibilidad ng lahat pagdating sa data privacy. Hindi lang ito trabaho ng government o ng tech companies. Bilang users, kailangan din nating maging maingat sa kung anong sinishare natin at kung anong access ang binibigay natin sa apps. Kasabay nito, kailangan din maging mas critical tayo bilang digital citizens. Responsible AI use means asking questions. Totoo ba to? Saan galing ang data? May bias ba? At sino ang posibleng maapektuhan ng content o desisyon ng AI? Dahil sa sobrang active natin online bilang mga Pilipino, nagiging mahalaga ang AI at digital literacy bilang life skills. Hindi na sapat ang marunong lang gumamit ng apps. Kailangan marunong din tayong mag-isip at mag-verify. At sa huli, bumabalik lahat sa atin. AI should work for us, not the other way around. Nasa atin kung gagamitin natin ito ng matalino, responsable at may malasakit sa kapwa. Sabi nga ng UNESCO recommendation on the ethics of AI, we should invest in and promote digital and media literacy skills to strengthen critical thinking and competencies needed to understand AI systems, para maiwasan ng disinformation, misinformation at hate speech. And that process begins with awareness in the very learning and sharing we are doing now. So, thank you for joining us in this conversation and sana mas naging malinaw kung paano gumagana ang data at AI at bakit mahalagang maintindihan natin ang impact nito sa buhay natin bilang mga Pilipino. This has been Honeybee, and we'll see you in the next episode. Stay informed, stay curious, and stay responsible.